We back. Sports. It's been a hell of a weekend for sports, has it not? I should say a hell of a week, due to the fact of everything that has happened. However, I do want to start off with the Philadelphia Phillies, and I say this due to the fact that Phillies fans, if you did not know, Jonathan Papelbon has come out and said he will be very disappointed if he's not traded by the Phillies this season. Yeah, he actually said that. I'll put it like this. Before in videos I've said when Jonathan Papelbon would act up, I would say what? I was like, trade him, get rid of him. He's not worth the trouble. You know what I mean? The attitude, he's starting to act like crybaby. You know, now that he's really starting to act up and say these type of things, keep him. Keep him. I say this because it's the worst thing you can do to him right now is keep him. If the Phillies keep losing and keep him, all he's going to do is cry and complain. You will see the true Jonathan Papelbon come out. As far as I'm concerned, that's what needs to be done. And I understand that he's getting saves. He almost blew a save yesterday. But that's not the point. The point is, this guy has problems, all right? I understand he wants to play for a contender, but he should have thought about that before signing that contract. Because let's be honest, people, that's what it comes down to. Sign the contract, and then, like I said, last season, he said that we were going to win the World Series. Now, all of a sudden, he went off the ship. That's what he wanted. No. Let him stay there. Shackle him down. He's here. He's a prisoner as far as I'm concerned on this team. He's the only person I feel that should stay on this team just because of his actions. Just because of his statements, I'm sorry. That's why. That's as far as I get. I don't even care anymore about you can trade him and get something for him. No, the Phillies aren't doing anything this season. They're not. We know that. Just enjoy the games for what they are. So as far as I'm concerned, let him sit there and suffer if he wants to act that way. I can see why now, people in Boston wanted to get rid of him. I can see they're saying now, we don't want you back. I can see it. If this is how this guy has to act when he's getting paid all this money, I'm not trying to hear this, man. I'm not trying to hear it. I want to move on. Speaking of all this money, all right? Chelsea. Yeah. Rivalry game against Arsenal. And that's how you play? Look, let's get something straight here, people, all right? This was a big rivalry game. First half was amazing. I didn't sit down the entire game. I didn't. I was staying up the entire time screaming at my TV as if they could hear me. All right? That's what I was doing. But the fact is, this game was amazing from the first half. It was so much drama. It was so much physicality. I mean, Oscar got drilled by the goalkeeper. And if you saw his face, it was just like he had a concussion. He was done. All right? And it just seems like they had a number of opportunities. Chelsea had a number of opportunities to attack. Especially they had a chance to, 2 goals, I believe, in the first half. They had an opportunity to get 2 goals. And he blew both of them. It happens. Okay? Arsenal, same way. Okay? However, during the first half, and halftime comes up, Arsenal fans, I don't understand how you could be upset. Because then you're blaming commentators for biased coverage. And then they have to correct you during the halftime show.
Here at the Emirates, but perhaps more remarkably, it's penaltyless. 3 very strong shouts turned down in the first 45 minutes. And I must tell you, actually, there's a lot of people on Twitter follow this game. And you've been accused of immense bias in your co-commentary in the first half. But let's be aware that this is actually going with it's Lee Dixon, a former Arsenal legend that's in the commentary box. So he's definitely not biased against Arsenal. Quite amusing, we felt. But it's been quite even.
In the second half, they bring in Drogba, and y'all know how I already feel about Drogba, but they bring him as a substitution for Oscar since he had to go to the hospital for his concussion. However, I will say this, okay? Chelsea did not play the second half. They sat back and played defense. That's what they did, and they gave Arsenal way too much damn respect. That's what they did. So Arsenal, they had their chances at goal as well. And I'll put it like this. The defense was top tier to what Chelsea played, but that's not how you need to play. You need to go out there and you need to win. That's what you need to do. Put some points on the board. Put Arsenal down. You're in their house. Make them suffer. And what do? You play this zone where, you play defense back, and then you just let Arsenal have this possession time that's not called for. I don't understand this. Why are you letting your goalkeeper take so many shots at goal? Why are you playing so far back? Why are you playing so conservative? I don't get this. Go out there and win. Show them that you can score. And that's the thing, because last week you did this with Manchester United, and they felt great about themselves after the game. And what happened when they came up against another team, yesterday, when they decided to play Everton? Everton wasn't having that. They weren't going to sit back. Everton destroyed them. 3-0. Destroyed them. Out-hustled them. Everything. They played them. Because Chelsea was sitting back last week, and they gave them that false confidence. Because that's what it is. False confidence. Because you're not playing up to your level. That's what it is. You're not playing to the standard that you can play at. And the same thing with Arsenal. And Arsenal is taking shots at you left and right that game, especially in the second half. And you're just still sitting back. And then after the game is over, because it's a draw, we've got Terry celebrating. He's jumping up in the air. He's, yeah! And all this. It's like, dude, you tied. I've never seen, you guys even said on Twitter, I've never seen someone celebrate a 0-0 tie so hard. And I have to agree. You have to understand that even afterwards, the commentators and the experts are saying, well, they were impressed by Chelsea's defense, and they did what they need to do to win, and you can't be mad at them for not scoring. Yes, you can. All right? And anyone who sits here and wants to sit and co-sign this, there's something wrong with them. You play to win.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Now, granted, ties happen. It was an exciting game. It was a great game up until that point you decide to celebrate. There's no reason to celebrate. There isn't, because you still have to beat two teams now in order to get the title. That's what it comes down to. You probably went, you went up against your biggest test, what would be for the rest of the year probably, more than likely, with Arsenal. But let's be honest here. You didn't do anything to beat Arsenal. And I know some people will say, well, they didn't have to beat Arsenal. Arsenal had to beat them. That's not the point. You were going into their house, all right? In a rivalry game, you make sure they know who you are. You show how dominant you are. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, on Wednesday, we got Leicester City. And you know what? Even though a lot of people say that Leicester City, oh, well, they're a joke team or whatever, Leicester City has been playing with a lot of heart as of late, and Leicester City is on a 4-game win streak and just took themselves out of relegation. You understand that, right? Leicester City is not going to lay down to Chelsea. And then afterwards, you got Crystal Palace. So none of these teams are going to lay down to Chelsea at this point, because now we're hearing that they're getting the parade ready and everyone's setting up. And I understand you want to get the parade ready. I get that, because you only need 2 wins out of these next, 5 games? I get it. All right? But no, you can't sit here and do that just yet. Go out there on Wednesday and win. That's what you need to do. I'm not trying to hear you're going to play conservative again and hold back and that's what they want you to do. No. Go out there and score some goals. If you can't do it against Leicester City, then why are you even doing this? And a lot of people are already saying, the experts are already saying that, after this season, if Chelsea wins this season, which they look like they're going to win the title, next season they're going to have to adapt. Because no one's happy with the style of play they have. And granted, it's a formula that wins. We see it. They're getting ready to show you it's working. But people aren't happy because they're not playing. A lot of people are saying it's boring soccer. I think it's just showing that you're not being aggressive. Like, it's almost like you don't care at times. That's what it feels like. And that's not going to fly. Seriously. You have to win these 2 games and win them. Score goals. I'm not trying to hear, oh, a tie, and oh, it's okay. We'll just wait for the next game and then the next game, because I'll put it like this. If I see John Terry celebrate again over a tie score that doesn't physically hand him the title afterwards, I may just lose it. That's ridiculous. And it's absolutely stupid. It almost tells me that you understand in the long run of things, in the scope of things, yes, that's what's going to get you to win. You get some ties and you don't have to worry about anything. But you go out there and you score. You go out there and you prove that you deserve to win. To win, not to tie. Okay? It's that simple. Now, I know a lot of Chelsea fans are probably going to say that I'm being hard on me. Every week I'm doing this. Yeah, you know what? Well, then they need to start showing me something. Because Arsenal, if you look at that possession, you see the way Arsenal played? Arsenal wanted it. Arsenal wanted that game. Chelsea didn't want that game. That's how I feel. I feel Chelsea didn't want the Manchester United game either. You can't sit back on your heels and just say we're going to play defense and wait for time to run out. And then as a fan, you say, okay, time's out. Oh, damn, they just put on plus 4 minutes. And then you got to wait again. You got to hold your breath the whole damn time. Because as we know, when Chelsea decides they want to get into these situations, they tend to give it up. I don't know, man. It's beyond me how anybody can be happy about this. I get it. Because listen, every time you do something like this, I'm not going to say you won. I'm going to say you survived. You survived. That's what you did. You survived against Arsenal. And I've been telling people you can't take Arsenal lightly because Arsenal will come out and play, and they did. I don't know. I still think Leicester City's going to come out and play as well. think Crystal Palace is going to do the same thing, but not on the level that, Leicester City probably will, because Leicester City has more to prove. They're trying to stay out of relegation. Crystal Palace, I mean, come on. They're going through their own thing as well, but Leicester City has really made that comeback to get out of that the 3-spot relegation in the lower tier. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's something that has to be applauded, and you have to give them respect. You have to. I don't care what their record is. Anyways, I want to move on. I want to talk about the Griffin Force flop of the week. That's right, we're getting into it. Basketball, NBA playoffs, we know it's here, and now the flopping has started. Check out Jason Terry as he flops in the Dallas Mavericks game against Dirk Nowitzki. Now, just to let everyone know, Jason Terry was fined $5,000 for that flop. I know $5,000 is nothing. Once again, you got to do something more than that, NBA. And it seems like the NBA are trying to take some drastic steps now. But I will put it like this. I'm not very happy with the steps that they're taking due to the fact that there has to be more in place. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you already seen the title. The NBA is now going to do HGH testing on a consistent basis. However, it's not going to start till next season. So you're telling the players, you're giving them a heads up now that, hey, you can use the HGH. We're not going to test for it, consistently until next season. So you have until now, throughout all off season, to get yourselves together before we start testing. That's what you just did. That's what you did. You gave them a heads up. And you know what? I guarantee you, and I want people to really pay attention to NBA players on the off season. You're going to see people lose weight. You're going to see people be sluggish. You're going to see people possibly lose muscle. You're going to see people gain a lot of water weight. You're going to see a number of things once HGH testing comes in. So I want you to please pay attention to these players and their performance. So once the new season starts up, expect stats. You're going to expect a lot of people saying, look, this person had these stats last year as opposed to this year. Maybe it's just a rough start. Maybe it's just, this person just lost it. No. The assist is going away. That's what it is. And you got to be kidding me that this is something that hasn't been, used more consistently, because even ESPN is saying, well, we applaud the NBA for doing this more consistently. I'm thinking to myself, this should have been done more consistently a long time ago. We've talked about this before. We remember Derrick Rose coming out and saying a number of players are on HGH. We see that Bill Simmons came out not too long ago, and he bagged on LeBron. He did everything but accuse him directly of taking steroids or HGH. He did. He went around, he beat around the bush about it, but he pretty much did it. So it goes to show you that this is something that has been on a lot of people's minds, and if anybody, and I mean anybody, sits here and says, well, no NBA player has ever been on HGH, you're crazy. There's something wrong with you, okay? This is something that definitely needs to be implemented, but it's something that should have been implemented a long time ago and more consistently. Like I said, we saw that Chris Paul was fighting against it as the NBA Players Association president. He was fighting against it, and I did a video on that. So this is something that is going to have to take place next season. I'm very interested to see how players' bodies will look. I'm interested to see, if they lose muscle mass, they gain muscle. We'll see what happens. We'll see, like I said, we'll see all the symptoms of what happens when you lose, when you start, when you get off the jump. We'll start seeing all the symptoms. We'll see, like I said, stats. We'll see how the numbers are. We'll definitely see how things are. However, I will put it like this. Since the NBA playoffs are, I should say, the wheels going right now, and we're seeing a lot of teams just falling apart, all right? Washington swept the Raptors pretty much. That's it. The Raptors can't do nothing about it, which is kind of sad because the Raptors, they started off really good this season, and they were just really consistent, and then they get into the playoffs, and then they falter. I want to say I'm going to chalk it up the lack of experience. We saw how Paul Pierce pretty much bullied them on the court. We saw that, okay? So I'm going to chalk up the lack of experience for the Raptors. Bulls versus Milwaukee. Anyone who saw that game, over the weekend, it was hilarious, especially that Milwaukee won on that buzzer beater. And let's get something straight, people, because I know a lot of people were bagging on Derrick Rose for losing the ball. If you watch it again closely, Derrick Rose, he got fouled. But in that case, when there's only a couple seconds left, they're going to let the players play. That's what they're going to do. He got fouled, and then, of course, on the other end, he had a lapse in defense, which you cannot make any excuse for. He had a lapse in defense, and Bayless beat him and got the layup for the buzzer beater to win the playoff game. However, I put it like this. The Milwaukee Bucks are still going to lose. They're still going to lose. The Bulls are up 3-1. They're not going to come back and make this charge all of a sudden that, that they're going to win. So, while Milwaukee is still a young team, and they look good, wait till they get their pieces back. That's what I would say. So you can't really, jump on the Bucks the way they're playing. They're playing with heart. They played with a lot of heart. Over the weekend? Wait till they get all their guys back from injury, and then next season see how they react. I think that'll be Milwaukee Bucks is going to have a tough team. I think if they can keep it together, if they can keep that heart going, that engine running, if they can keep that going. Also, I got a chance to see Boston and Cleveland, of course, and you know what? It's starting to piss me off. It really is, because we're seeing way too many things happen. And you know what, Boston Celtics fans, I understand that, look, I understand that you're proud of your team, but there's players on your team who don't know what the hell they're doing. And for anyone who I'm talking about, Zeller, all right? I want to know how he's going to sit here and complain to this referee that he didn't get this call because he missed the layup on his own.
He looks at himself and says, I'll take that shot 99 times, 100 times I won't shoot that bad. Love from being active on the post.
Oh, beautiful pass, and Zeller thought it was foul.
And this is what I don't understand, because players are complaining to referees about things that clearly they messed up on. There's no way you're going to get a call on that when the refs didn't do anything, and I say this, they pretty much did nothing at all, about Kevin Love's shoulder dislocation. I mean, seriously, you were pulling the guy's arm, the arm that's away from the ball, and you're going to act like you didn't do anything? Come on, man, stop. This is what I'm talking about, and that's not all. No. In this game as well, okay? How the refs missed this, I have no idea. I thought it was actually pretty hilarious. Isaiah Thomas is out of bounds behind LeBron James and knocks the ball out of his hand, and they say it's the Celtics' ball.
When the game is on the no foul. So I'll take with the ball or with LeBron. Let me see. Oh, jeez.
And if you watch the video again, the referee is standing right next to them. Don't tell me you didn't see that. What is Isaiah Thomas, an enigma now? Is he just showed up in a green mist and made LeBron do that? You've got to be kidding me that wasn't called and you're standing right next to them. This is what I mean with the NFL, where they fired a number of incompetent referees. The NBA needs to follow suit. There is no way that you can stand right next to a player and that something like that happened and you say, oh, it really is your fault. You're standing right there. Your job is right there in front of you and you didn't do it. That's ridiculous. However, I do want to talk more about an enigma. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Jon Jones. That's right, UFC champion Jon Jones. Let's get into this. For those who do not know what happened yesterday, all right, reports were coming out that Jon Jones was going to be pulled off of the next UFC card, because he was supposed to fight Rumble Johnson. Now they were talking about how he's not going to fight Rumble Johnson. And everyone's like, what's going on? Why is he not? Here it is, he's got some legal troubles. For those who don't know what happened yesterday, Jon Jones was involved in a car accident. That's right. He was involved in a car accident under the influence. All right? One of the people that he hit, because it was a hit and run, because he fled the scene. He fled the scene. And one of the people that he hit was a pregnant woman. And the fact that they said that they found cocaine in the car. That's right. So this is the same problem that we're seeing again with Jon Jones when he was caught with cocaine before. And Dana White, refused to strip him of the title. And as we know, Jon Jones went to rehab for a day and said, I'm okay, I can handle this. That's what he said. Now, we're on this again. Now, of course, we don't know if it's been confirmed about the cocaine thing. However, it is confirmed that he was involved in a hit-and-run accident, and the police are looking for him. However, UFC has come out not too long ago, I believe earlier today, and has released a statement saying that Jon Jones will still fight Rumble Johnson in May. He will. So he won't be pulled off the card. He does have some legal problems, though, right now, and it has to be taken care of. I don't understand how much you let a person get away with. I don't. Seriously. I understand he's your golden boy. He draws tickets. But we're talking about sports where you ban people for HGH. All right? Ban people for... Oh, and just to let you know, for the HGH thing, I'll put the link in the info bar. 3 strikes your rule out for the NBA. That's right. 20 games, 45 games, then you're kicked out of the league. So, I put it like this. If you're throwing out people in the UFC for smoking weed, for taking steroids, and then someone takes cocaine, and you say, it's okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. Because then you try to, I won't say everyone, I'll say that people try to justify and say, it's not a performance-enhancing drug, it's an addiction. And that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's the hard stuff. I'm not trying to hear that. Anyone who's ever seen someone on cocaine, you can't... No. It's a performance enhancer, all right? Trust me. When you see somebody going off and, they had cocaine, they go nuts, yeah. All right? Try stopping that person. But you have to understand that this is something that needs to be taken care of. You can't sit here and say, well, we're just going to let him slide on this again. You know what I mean? Under the influence, hit and run, possibly cocaine, because like I said, it hasn't been confirmed but the cocaine in the car. But if it is, man, this is what you call career ending for certain people. You know what I mean? I understand he's a talented fighter, but you got to draw a line somewhere. Speaking of more fighters, I want to talk about Klitchko versus Jennings. In this fight, for those who did not see the fight over the weekend, a horrible fight. Horrible. Because guess what? That's how mostly all Klitchko fights are. They're horrible. Because you should know by now, because of how big Klitschko is, because of his reach, fighters have to get inside Klitschko. They have to. And what do we see with Klitschko? When they try to come in with the right, Klitschko will just pat them down like this. If they try to rush in, what happens? Klitschko puts the arm under, puts the arm over their head, headlocks them, and leans in like this, putting his body weight on them so it wears them down. Happens all the time. Does it not? Okay. Klitschko, this fight was so boring, and I say this due to the fact that the referee could have controlled this fight better. And I really do want to blame the referee because I feel as though referees let Klitschko get away with so much, especially with his holding. In the 5th round, he tells Klitschko, stop holding or I'm going to take a point from you. That's what he says in the 5th. That was his warning. Stop holding or I'm going to take a point. The holding ensues and he keeps going. In the 9th round, he says, this is your final warning, Klitschko. If you don't stop holding, I'm going to take a point. Holding keeps happening. In the 10th round, referee finally takes a point. Now here's the thing. What is the point of taking a point in the 10th round? What's the point? The fight's over. It's only 2 more rounds to go. Jennings has already been outboxed. Jennings he can't do but so much. And also, we have to look at it this way, people. Judging scores, you should know never to leave the fight up to the judges. You shouldn't, all right? I say this because after the fight, after Jennings, who was clearly he was beaten, he was, let's be honest here, he goes on to say that he won this fight.
What did it teach me? If I had any doubts in myself, it actually proved something. It proved that I have what it takes. Teaching, I really can't answer that question right now because I actually have to watch and see some of the things that I've repeated from previous fights, and see some things that I could have actually changed and actually did. So, yeah.
Successes that you had, do you think that's going to make him more reluctant to want the rematch because you were so successful?
Yeah. I think it is. Is like I said, I really think I won the fight, if not closer scorecards. I mean, that was by a wide margin. I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous.
All right. You know what? This is the 2nd week in a row we've seen fighters get their asses whipped and say that they won the fight. We're going to get into this, okay? Because first, I want to say to Jennings, you're absolutely right about the scorecards. There is no way that fight was a landslide, because it wasn't, all right? It wasn't a landslide, but you did get your ass beat. You did lose. Bottom line. Now, for these media guys coming out and saying that, Klitschko is reluctant to give you a rematch, so that must mean you were really successful. No. Klitschko has mandatory fights for his other titles that he has. If he doesn't take those mandatory fights, you know what happens? They get stripped. That's what happens. So he's got to take other fights. You can't just sit here and say, oh, I'm just going to give him a rematch, and I'm going to sit back and say, I'm reluctant on giving him one because he was so good. No, he's beaten you already. You got to wait your turn. Once you get beaten, guess what? You go back down the ladder, bro. You got to work your way back up. That's how it works. All right? Someone else got to get in line. But he has mandatory fights. For someone to say that he's reluctant because you were so successful and not take that into account, that's horrible journalism. That's what it is. Okay? Now, as opposed to the fight itself, like I said, I agree that one of those judges, they had it by a landslide. They did. All right? But Jennings did lose the fight. For Jennings to sit here and say that he won this fight, let's look at the punch stats and show you exactly how Jennings lost this fight. So yes, the fight was closer than what judges made it seem. However, he did get his ass whipped. Every time Klitschko is just pawing like this, if you notice, Klitschko was very reluctant on throwing the right hand because he was still trying to fill out the entire fight because Jennings kept moving his head. But when Klitschko was doing like this and just patting him and tapping him, guess what? Those are punches landed. Those are points. That's what it is. And no matter, like I said, no matter how hard a punch is thrown, how light a punch is thrown, if it is connected, that goes down in the stat sheet. So you have to understand that even though there's times where Jennings, he's throwing punches to the body and he's holding them, guess what? There's times that they're not recording that, and there's also times that they did record it. So it can be a little iffy. That's why you can't leave it up to judges. However, when Klitchko is keeping his distance, and he's constantly, and I call it pawing because he's not really snapping his jab, he's just tapping like this and pawing you and keeping you at distance. That's what it is. It's like a cat or a dog just pawing at you. That still counts. It's a connection. So yes, Klitchko beats you. He beats you off of boxing prowess, his style. Granted, a lot of people do not like that style. I don't like that style because of the way he is. Because you should know, he's going to keep his distance. That's his biggest thing. All right? And then, like I said, you get close, he grabs you, which is just, it's absolutely horrible. But if you want to stop him from grabbing, ref, you've got to take more initiative and say, I'm not going to let you grab this entire fight. You could have warned him in the third round and be like, if you do it again, I'm going to take a point. And then to show that your threat is serious, you take a point. If he does it again in the fourth, you take a point from him. You don't wait till, like I say, he warned him in the fifth. You don't wait till 4 rounds later to say, this is your final warning. That's ridiculous. So as far as I'm concerned, the referee did a bad job. Jennings, he didn't do enough work. He didn't. He was throwing more power shots. He was trying to get in. But for all the time that he spent trying to get in, you have to understand that he's being jabbed. And when Klitchko also, he's controlling the ring. So when Klitchko grabs you, if you notice, anyone watch the fight, when he grabs you, he walks you back into the rope. Meaning, he has the rest of the ring. You're up against the ropes now. You're letting this guy literally push you into a direction, which you shouldn't be. You should be standing your ground if he's grabbing you, or you push him forward. That's what you're supposed to do. You push him backwards. I'm sorry, that's what you're supposed to do. So that you control the ring. So it looks like you're doing more. But Jennings didn't do that. Which is why when people asked before the fight started how I felt, I said he's too inexperienced. He's not ready for this fight. Yeah, he showed up. He showed some heart. But there's a number of things. Like I said, once he goes back and watches the tape, he'll see what he did wrong. But to say that he won this fight, absolutely ridiculous. So, like I said, there's no way. Like I said, Jennings wasn't concussed, so yeah, you didn't win that fight. I think this is becoming a trend now. This is 2 weeks in a row. I'm not trying to hear that you won. I'm not. All right? Chavez Jr., as you guys said in the comments, you also agreed he was concussed when he said that. Jennings, there's no excuse. Now, I will say this. This week coming up is going to be a long sports week. Not a weekend, sports week. All right? NBA playoffs. NHL playoffs. On Wednesday, Chelsea versus Leicester City. You also have on Thursday the NFL draft. Let me talk about the NFL draft real quick, okay? Because I really did want to do a video talking about players we should get. But, you know, after talking to some people over the weekend, it took more precedent to hear what they were saying and how they feel about the NFL draft, us Eagles fans. Ever since the signing of Tim Tebow, after talking to a lot of these guys, especially over the weekend playing ball, a lot of them are just like, I don't care about the NFL draft. They don't care. Because they're still upset of the moves that Chip Kelly is making. And it's a problem. Because Chip Kelly, you have to understand, when you make these moves and it starts to affect the fan base, like I said last week, and it starts to affect the fan base, and now they're not even looking forward to the draft, you are taking away the enthusiasm that Eagles fans have for the NFL draft. That's what you're doing. So if this draft is a success, people are going to be like, all right, whatever, we'll see what they'll do in the preseason. That's what they'll say. If this draft is a bust, you can expect people to go nuts. You can expect the booing is going to happen. People are going to want you out of here. I think it's a no-win situation right now for Eagles fans in the NFL draft. Unless you get Mariota, which I really don't see it happening. We've already picked that apart before. I don't see it happening. So Eagles fans right now, like I said, Eagles fans that I've talked to, it's almost like their spirit is being beaten down. And it's not even from a rival or a rivalry fan base. It's from our own coach. That's sad. That's sad. That's something. Anyways, the NFL draft over the weekend, right? ESPN, Friday Night Fights. Then you got on Saturday, Mayweather, Pacquiao. That's going to be a big fight, and I'll put it like this. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't care who wins. This is going to be an interesting fight. However, I will say, no matter who wins, why do I feel they're going to rematch anyway? I think we'll see the numbers at the gate and see how much they make, and then they'll make a decision no matter who wins. All right? Doesn't matter who you cheer for. Just enjoy the fight for what it is. That's what it's going to be for me. Also, on Saturday, like I said, you still have the NHL NBA playoffs going on. And then on Sunday, you got Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. So as you can see, this week is full of sports. It's all about catching them at the times that you can. So, like I said, those are the things that are going on. I'm sure I'll be on Twitter so that we can all discuss these type of things. Anyways, I am done. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Sports week coming up. Big one. I'm out.